The distance here is approximately maybe from 10 to 15 kilometers, the distance it has covered. And the camera has an optical grating in front of the lens, and this grating makes this optical spectrum here. The one thing that surprises us with this spectrum is that it's continuous. The colors goes directly over in the other color here, and we see no lines or dots here, which will give us a signal of that we have a gas that is burning. This looks like optical spectrum from a solid object or from plasma with high density.
So it's still too early to say for certain what the origin of these lights is and what these flying objects really are. But one thing we can state as a fact: the phenomenon is here and it's real.
And what about the UPAN sightings in Belgium, the Phoenix lights in Arizona, the UFO at Osaka Airport, Japan, the UFO landing in Voronezh, Russia, the ghost rockets in Sweden, the Col d'Avance sightings in France, the UFOs filmed in Milan, Italy, the UFO fleets over Peru, the Chinese scientists filming UFO at the Purple Mountain Observatory. It goes on and on.
Well, of course, at this late date, there is just an abundance of documentation, military reports, radar sightings, personal experiences. They go back for many years, but they have been routinely ignored, shunned aside by the government, ignored by the media, and therefore the average person rarely gets to hear of these things. But when you put them together, it forms a very compelling picture that there is a reality that's happening all around us that we are being systematically denied information on. I've had many people say, well, look, if all this happened, wouldn't there have been military people and radar operators and even policemen and stuff who would have said they had these experiences? And the answer is absolutely yes. But early on, they learned their lesson. If they stepped forward and they said, yes, I saw these things, then they tend to lose their job, they lose their credibility, people begin to snicker at them. And that's been very effective over the years in keeping this whole issue quiet.
I know that if they took an oath not to reveal that, in our country that was very serious at that time. Okay? If you violated a top secret clearance, you could be put in jail for 15 or 20 years and everything you have done removed from you. Yeah.
Could this be why the military observations never reached the public? But many who had been involved in UFO sightings over the years felt a strong urge to reveal what they knew and to be relieved from the burden of carrying these secrets. After 30 or 40 years and having retired from service, many were willing to break their oaths and speak publicly.
They can stop on a dime, they can take off at Mach 10 or greater. It's unbelievable what they can do. So we need to know these things. So the only reason I'm here is to tell you, let's disclose this whenever we can. Please. Thank you.
In 2001, the U.S. medical doctor Stephen Greer staged an initiative where several hundred witnesses of high rank and high credibility came forward with what they had experienced during service. The Disclosure Project, helped by the internet and YouTube, was a formidable eye-opener to people all over the world.
So we started a project that's known as the Disclosure Project, which people can see at disclosureproject.org, where we began to identify military and corporate and CIA intelligence officers who had personal knowledge of the classified operations dealing with this subject, and to get them to come forward with our information to disclose this publicly. Because what we felt was necessary was that the secrecy should be ended and this information disclosed so that humanity, not just one country in America, but all of humanity could make peaceful contact with these civilizations visiting us, but also would lay the foundation for these new technologies, the energy and propulsion systems that are behind these UFOs that are so mysterious. How are they flying? Well, this is understood, but they are in classified projects. So that was another objective, was to get the technologies out to the public so we could have a civilization that would get freed from the use of oil and the destruction of the environment.
There were probably 1,500 reported cases at that time.
I have over 3,000 cases now.
They estimated 100 yards from the left wing was this 100-foot disc.
And the strength of the signal was as strong as the surface contact on the water of an aircraft carrier. This contact was huge.
The size of these objects around 100 meters or greater.
So it would go from 1 o'clock, 7 or 8 miles to 6, 7 o'clock, 7 or 8 miles inside of 4 or 5 seconds. You have to be moving pretty quickly.
And they could rise, just go straight up. They could do that, just seemed like instantaneous.
Once they started moving, they went straight up, you know, for a while, and then they went zap.
Then it just sort of disappeared. It dematerialized
And left the atmosphere, just was gone. It just took off into space.
He said, "You are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this never happened."
And you never saw this, and I don't exist, and this situation never happened.
I didn't want to look at it any longer than that because I felt that my life was in jeopardy.
I am prepared to state that I have been at locations where craft of unknown origin that did not originate on the face of this planet was there. I am prepared to state that while I was there, we saw living, dead bodies of entities that were not born on this planet. I am prepared to state that we had what they referred to as interfacing with those entities. We have contact with aliens not originating from some foreign country, but from some other solar system. And I have been a party to that.
What some of these witnesses also revealed were observations of UFOs hovering over storage sites of nuclear weapons and nuclear rocket launch sites.
The big increase in all the sightings around the world happened at the time when we began to detonate nuclear weapons. This is not an accident. And I've been told by senior intelligence officials that essentially a big red flag went up over our planet saying we were in trouble. But not only are we in trouble, but we could be a threat to others, because you combine going into space, the early stages of space travel, and the use of hydrogen bombs and nuclear weapons, and a civilization on Earth that was still very violent, as you look around the Earth even today, of course. So this is something that any enlightened or even self-interested civilization observing the Earth, which I think we've been under observation for thousands of years, would be greatly concerned.
Over the last 35 years, I have talked to now over 100 people, about 115 nuclear missile launch officers, targeting officers, missile maintenance personnel, and missile guards. And these individuals, for the most part, do not know each other. Some were in the Air Force in the 1960s, some were in the Air Force in the 1990s. And they were at different bases, but they all have very, very similar stories. And what they describe is UFOs coming in very quickly at high rates of speed and instantly stopping and hovering either over the underground nuclear missile launchers or what are called launch control facilities that launch the missiles. So after the missiles malfunction, the UFO leaves. Now, this has occurred at least 3 Air Force bases that I'm aware of in the United States.
The event, the incident, I guess I call it, is happened on the morning of March 16th, 1967. As I recall, it was early in the morning, and I received a call from my topside security guard, and he said that
he and some of the guards had been observing some strange lights flying around the